Hello, test mic. We are up and live. Good day everyone, Sir Howard here. Today I want to deliver to you a webinar na dineliver ko kamakailan lang on a certain organization which I cannot mention. But my talk was about the daily dose of mental wellness. I think this is a very good webinar for everyone to hear, especially for those of you interested with issues on mental wellness. So here you go. Bakit ko ba sinabi or bakit ba yung title ko is Daily Dose of Mental Wellness? Well, what do you mean by daily dose? It means this is something that you give to yourself every day. So when you say, I'm giving myself a daily dose of vitamin C or a daily dose of vitamin A, it means meron kang plano na bigyan yung sarili mo ng vitamin C at ng vitamin A kailan? Every day. But why would you give yourself something every day? Anong meron doon sa mga bagay na yon that you will give yourself every day because those things are good for you? That's why you want a daily dose of those things because those things are good for you. Now, in connection to that word every day, I want to attach the word every day with mental wellness. Okay? Today, we are going to talk about different psychological skills that we need to be doing every day for us to maintain our mental wellness. Let me repeat, I really want to attach those two words, mental wellness and everyday. Kasi nakikita ko sa maraming mga Filipinos ngayon, especially young people, they have a very wrong framework on how mental wellness must be taken care of. Marami mga tao naniniwala sila that mental wellness is just an occasional thing. It's not an everyday thing. Paminsan-minsan lang nila aayusin yung mental wellness nila or paminsan-minsan lang sila magiging concerned sa kanilang mental wellness. So, just like what you can see on the picture on your right, many people today treat the issue of mental wellness occasionally. Paminsan-minsan lang. So let me just correct that wrong framework of mental wellness. Enhancement of mental wellness should not only be done on a weekend. Many people are like that. Monday to Friday, they work hard. They don't care about their mental wellness. And then Saturday, Sunday, it's all about mental wellness. That is a wrong framework. Enhancement of mental wellness should not only be done on a webinar like this, but believe it or not, there are people na ganyan ang treatment sa mental wellness. Mag-aantay lang ng webinar about mental wellness and they think that webinar will be the one to improve their mental wellness. So mag-aantay lang sila ng webinar and then sabihin nila, tamang-tama, may webinar on mental wellness. Finally, maayos na yung mental wellness ko. That is a very wrong framework of mental wellness. Enhancement of mental wellness should not only be done when symptoms arise. Many people are like that. They only become concerned with their mental wellness when they already feel the symptoms. Hindi na makatulog, mataas na yung anxiety, mataas na yung stress levels, hindi na makapag-function in their everyday life. In fact, I would say, by the time you are now experiencing symptoms of low mental wellness, that is already late for you to be concerned about your mental wellness. And last one, enhancement of mental wellness should not only be done when you feel like doing it. In fact, I call this laziness. Maraming mga tao, the reason why they are suffering from a number of mental health issues, it's because they are lazy taking care of their mental wellness. Kung kailan lang sila sinisipag, kung kailan lang sila inspired, kung kailan lang silang may na-attend na webinar or may nabasang libro on mental wellness, doon lang nila aayusin yung kanilang mental wellness. That is a wrong framework of mental wellness. I guess what I want to say here is the enhancement of mental wellness is an everyday and every moment activity. Hindi yan paminsan-minsan lang. Hindi yan kung kailan mo lang trip. Every day that you wake up, every day that you spend in your life, you must be doing something for the betterment of your mental wellness. So given that, now that we understand why my title is like that, Daily Dose of Mental Wellness, the following are the questions that I want to answer for this webinar. Number one, what does it mean to be mentally well? We are going to define ano bang ibig sabihin ng mental wellness in the first place para maintindihan natin kung ano yung inaaral natin dito. And number two, we are going to talk about the different psychological skills that you need to be doing every day to enhance your mental wellness. After those two questions, then we are done for this webinar. Let's start with number one. What does it mean to be mentally well? I want to answer this question by ending the confusion among the following terms. Kasi napapansin ko, every time someone delivers a webinar on mental wellness, a lot of terms are being interchanged. Mental wellness, mental health, subjective well-being, and psychological well-being. Question, are these words the same? Answer, they're not the same. Especially in the academic level of psychology, in the research level of psychology, may mga psychologists, they see differences, conceptual differences among these terms. So magkakaiba yan. Meron yung mga nitty-gritty conceptual differences that differentiates these four concepts. But here's my point, for webinars like this, para ma-simplify natin yung pag-uusap natin on mental wellness, we can just treat these four concepts as the same because anyway, they are pertaining to one common thing. Sa salitang Tagalog, iisa lang naman yung tinutumbok ng mga concepts na yan, and that is the positive state of mind. So kahit ano pang gamitin mo na concept dyan, wellness, mental health, subjective well-being, or psychological well-being, we want to talk about how to develop a positive state of mind. So wag na natin problemahin yung mga conceptual differences among those four. But what we are clear about is whenever we talk about any one of these four, we are after studying a person's positive state of mind. Ano bang ibig sabihin ng positive state of mind? I consulted the APA Dictionary of Psychology and it is defined this way: a state of mind characterized by emotional well-being, good behavioral adjustment, relative freedom from anxiety and disabling symptoms, and a capacity to establish constructive relationships and cope with the ordinary demands and stresses of life. So medyo mahirap pa rin intindihin, maraming dapat tandaan, but if I am going to simplify positive state of mind, we are referring to a person's ability to make him or herself become in good mental condition. Yan na lang yung tandaan nyo, no? Good mental condition. So mental wellness is a topic that we talk about when we want to learn how to have a good mental condition. Okay, so that's what you mean by mental wellness, how to have a good mental condition. Now, let's talk about the two criteria that we need to look for us to say that someone has a good mental wellness. Kung baga, ito yung mga tinatawag nating mga markers. Ano ba yung mga markers that we need to look for us to say that someone is in good mental wellness? According to mentalhealth.gov and American Psychological Association, these are organizations expert in mental wellness, there are two criteria to look for para masabi mo kung maganda ba yung mental wellness ng isang tao. The first criteria is a person with good mental wellness has an overall positive feeling towards the self and other people. Ibig sabihin, in general, maganda yung emotions mo sa sarili mo at sa ibang tao. Take note, it has to be both. Two sides of the same coin. Hindi pwedeng isa lang. Hindi pwedeng mahal mo lang yung sarili mo, pero galit na galit ka sa mga tao. Or hindi rin naman pwedeng people like you very much, they feel connected with you, but you hate yourself. It has to be both. You need to have good emotions towards yourself and other people. But how do you know if you hit criteria number one? Meron yang short exercise that we can do para more or less matansya natin if we hit criteria number one. I am going to read some words on the slide na lalabas doon sa right part of the slide, and then if you have that word that I'm going to read in your life right now, I want you to say the word yes. Pero kung wala naman, if that word is not present in your life right now, then you can just keep silent. Alright? So let's talk about this. I'm going to read to you those words. Again, if you have it, just say yes. If you don't, you just keep silent. Number 1, can you say in your life right now, meron kang pananampalataya or faith? Number 2, ikaw ba ay masaya sa iyong buhay ngayon? Number 3, ikaw ba ay ganado sa buhay ngayon? Do you have a certain level of motivation in your everyday life? Number 4, ikaw ba ay may pangarap pa sa buhay? Do you still look forward to achieving certain things in the future? Number 5, ikaw ba ay may lakas pa ng loob in facing your challenges in life? Number 6, ikaw ba ay may minamahal? Number 7, ikaw ba ay minamahal ng mga mahal mo? Minsan nakakababa ng mental wellness yan, no? Mahal mo pero hindi ka mahal. Ako, masakit yan. Number 8, ikaw ba ay may kumpiyansa pa sa iyong sarili? Number 9, ikaw ba ay may pagpapahalaga sa iyong sarili? And last one, number 10, ikaw ba ay meron pang pagpapahalaga sa ibang tao? So the cut-off score that I want you to take note here is 7/10, meaning you need to be saying yes 7 times sa 10 na yan for you to say that you hit criteria number 1. If you went below 7, wala ka pang 7 times na nag-yes among the words that I've read, then that means you failed criteria number 1. Okay? Now let's move on to criteria number 2. Another indicator that you have good mental wellness is you have absence of any form of mental disorders. Actually, yung criteria number 1 and criteria number 2 are very correlated, or should I say connected to each other. That if you have criteria number 1, more or less, malamang sa malamang, mai-hit mo na rin yung criteria number 2 and vice versa. Pag hindi mo na-hit yung criteria number 1, malamang sa malamang hindi mo rin mai-hit yung criteria number 2, which is you have an absence of any form of mental disorders. Meaning, kung i-observe ko yung iyong thinking, feeling, and behavioral pattern as a psychologist, I wouldn't see any pattern in you that will be found inside the pages of the DSM-5. For those of you with psych degrees here, or if you have a psychology background, you understand what DSM-5 is. It's a big and thick book containing all the patterns of people who are mentally ill. So, ibig sabihin, kapag meron ako nakitang pattern mo o kaugalian mo na nakalagay or under any form of diagnosis within DSM-5, that will confirm that you are not in a good mental condition. You did not hit criteria number 2. Okay? So those are the 2 criteria for us to say if a person has a good mental wellness. Overall feeling of positivity for the self and others, and absence of any form of mental disorders. Pero there are more objective way to determine or even to measure your overall mental wellness. Because what we did so far was we just described what number 1 and what number 2 is. But we can quantify. Pwede nating matansya through a certain score kung gaano ba kataas o kababa yung mental wellness mo by the use of certain psychological tests or instruments. Marami naman yan sa market. But for time constraints, we will no longer be able to do this. But what I will do instead for the next slides is I am going to give you some examples of items that are being given to people na sinusukatan natin ng mental wellness. I am doing this so that more or less you can really deepen your understanding kung ano ba yung hinahanap natin from a person na sinusukatan natin ng mental wellness. Okay? So some examples of items that we give to people who we are measuring mental wellness. Number 1. Number 2. And then we ask them about number 3. And then we ask about their number 4. And then we ask about their number 5. Okay? So I hope those items further deepened your understanding kung ano ba yung mga markers o ano ba yung mga expectation natin from people na maganda ang mental wellness. Okay? So I hope I was able to deepen your understanding on what mental wellness is. So officially we are done with number 1. We proceed now to number 2. What are now the different psychological skills that we can do or that we should do every day to improve our mental wellness? Now, there are 3 techniques that I want to teach you in this next few slides on how to improve or how to protect your mental wellness. Whether you have high mental wellness or you have low mental wellness, you will benefit from this. Kasi, yung mga mababa ang mental wellness, let's say you took a test on mental wellness and then you scored low. Good news is, it can still be improved. Hindi naman nakataga sa bato yan eh. Na kapag mababa mental wellness mo, mamamatay kang mababa ang mental wellness mo, you can improve by constantly applying these 3 techniques that I will be teaching you. So from a 3, you can move to a 5 or even to an 8 if you just faithfully apply these 3 techniques I'm going to teach you. On the other hand, for those of you with already high levels of mental wellness, huwag kayong makampante because mental wellness, it's not a static thing. Bumababa pa rin yan eh. Something bad happens or bigla kang nagkaroon ng negative thinking, pwedeng ikabagsak yan ng mental wellness mo. But the good news is, more or less you can control how hard your mental wellness will fall. So let's say ang mental wellness mo ngayon is 9. Tapos may masamang nangyari in your environment, yung 9 mo, pwedeng hanggang 7 lang siyang bumagsak because you have been applying these 3 techniques that I will be teaching you. Kung hindi mo ina-apply itong 3 techniques na to, yung pagbagsak ng mental wellness mo can be steeper. So from a 9, dahil hindi mo alam itong mga techniques na ito, pwedeng bumagsak ka sa 2. Alright? So again, my point here is regardless if you are doing well or not in mental wellness, you can still benefit from these 3 techniques that we are going to talk about. Now, these 3 techniques that I'm going to teach you are in the form of habits. Anong ibig sabihin ng habit? Mga bagay na palagi mong ginagawa or regular mong ginagawa or araw-araw mong ginagawa. And this is in connection to what I told you about mental wellness, that it must be an everyday concern. Hindi pwedeng paminsan-minsan lang yung mental wellness mo. So if mental wellness is an everyday thing, then the skills that you need to apply to protect your mental wellness is also an everyday thing. Kaya nga habits itong mga ituturo ko sa inyo, no? I am going to teach you 3 mental or psychological habits that you need to be doing every day for the sake of your mental wellness. You need to give yourself a daily dose of the following habits. Let's start with number 1. Number 1, alam nyo, you need to be giving yourself a daily dose of positive reframing. This is a person's ability to see the good side in negative situations. Merong dalawang steps para magawa mo ng maayos yung positive reframing. Step 1, you acknowledge that something bad happened in your life. You acknowledge, you don't deny it. In fact, minsan, you need to grieve about it first. Okay, you acknowledge that something bad happened in your situation. And then step 2, what do? You search for the good in the midst of the bad. Yun yung ibig sabihin ng positive reframing. Merong masamang nangyari, masama yung frame, pero kung i-apply mo yung habit number 1, you are going to change the negative frame and turn it to become a more positive one. Acknowledge the bad situation and then search for the good in the midst of the bad. Let me give you an example that will demonstrate kung paano ba ginagamit yung positive reframing. I think many of my students already know this story, but it's worth hearing the story again. Merong 3 magkakaibigan, mga bata ito, naglalaro-laro sila ng mga toys nila, nagpayabangan sila. So yung unang bata nagyabang doon sa mga kalaro niya, sabi niya, alam nyo, bilib na bilib ako sa lolo ko kasi yung lolo ko sobrang yaman. Yung gate ng bahay nila, it's already worth 5 million pesos. Can you imagine? Gate, 5 million pesos na. So, yung pangalawang bata sumagot. Sabi niya dun sa kalaro niya, mahirap pala yung lolo mo eh. Wala yan sa lolo ko. Pumunta ka sa bahay ng lolo ko, yung doorknob niya is already 10 million pesos. Can you imagine? Doorknob worth 10 million pesos. Mahal na doorknob yan. Gusto kong makahawak ng ganyang doorknob, no? And the third child, syempre, nagpapayabangan nga sila, hindi siya nagpatalo doon sa dalawang kalaro niya. Sabi niya, wala pala yung mga lolo nyo sa lolo ko. Yung lolo ko, sobrang yaman, pag pumunta ka sa bahay niya, at doon ako nakatira ngayon, yung bubungan namin, it's already worth 700 million pesos. And so, the two kids were so impressed. Grabing yaman naman ng lolo mo. Saan ba kayo nakatira? Nakatira pala sila sa ilalim ng tulay. Ayan, yun yung bahay nila. So, bakit pala 700 million yung bubungan nila? Kasi yung bubungan nila, yung tulay mismo, na ang worth ay 700 million pesos. You see? I like the way the third child reframed his situation. Hindi siya nag-focus doon sa idea na mahirap sila, na nakatira sila sa ilalim ng tulay, lalong-lalo na sa Pilipinas kapag nakatira ka sa ilalim ng tulay, it shows that you are not in a good socio-economic situation. Talagang mahirap ka pag nakatira ka sa ilalim ng tulay. But this child, he reframed his situation positively. Although mahirap kami, one of my blessings na kinakailangan kong makita or i-count is yung bubungan namin ay mamahalin. Okay? Now, another example, kasi fiction yung fiction yung story na yon. Another example that is more realistic where we can demonstrate how positive reframing is applied is during the pandemic. Ngayong pandemya, meron ako nakitang piece of literature in Facebook na honestly hindi sa akin to, no, kaya credit to the owner kung sino ka man. Pero ang ganda nung pagkakasulat niya nung literature na ito because in this literature, the author was able to count the number of good things that we have in spite of the dangers of the pandemic. Definitely, no question, pandemic is bad. Pandemic is not good for our health. It's not good for our mental well-being. But this author has chosen to count the good things that happened during the pandemic. And I want to share this with you by reading to you this piece of literature. Sabi ng author, iba ka COVID-19, ang dami mong binago sa isang iglap. Binuo mo yung pamilya na minsan lang kumain sa hapagkainan ng sama-sama. Napapirmi mo ng bahay ang mga anak na sakit ng ulo ng kanilang mga magulang sa sobrang layas at gala. Natutong uminom ng calamansi juice o anumang fruit juice ang mga mahilig sa soft drinks para lumakas ang kanilang immune system. Napadalas ang kumustahan ng mga magkakamag-anak pati na mga magkakaibigan kahit na bawal ang halik o beso-beso, malayo man o malapit. May mga bisyo na alak, sugal, sigarilyo at droga ay parang napigilan mong gawin nila. Pinakilala mo din sa amin kung sino-sino yung mga taong may pusong tumulong at hindi mapagsamantala. Isama mo na yung mga namumuliti ka pa kesa makiisa sa pagtulong para mabuksa ka. Sa pamamagitan ng global lockdown, unti-unting nahihil si Mother Earth dahil nababawasan ang air pollution. Kasi wala nang bumabiyahing smoke-bilking vehicles at temporarily close ang mga factories and other businesses. Dahil din sa lockdown, nasolusyonan na ang matagal ng problema ng traffic sa EDSA. Pati ang teleserye ang probinsyano ay tinapos mo na. Ang daming napilitang maglakad kasi walang pampublikong sasakyan and we remember 10,000 steps a day is good for the body. Ang gustong-gusto kong ginawa mo ay madami kang tinakot para makarealize paano pahalagahan ang kalusugan. Madami na gustong kumain ng gulay at prutas. At higit sa lahat, ang dami mong pinaluhod para manalangin sa Panginoong Diyos na lumikha kasi madami nang nakakalimot. At pinaalala sa amin na indeed God is in control of all things. COVID-19, kahit nakakatakot ka, kahit bad ka sa katawan ng tao, totoo pala, I see the good in the bad. Kapag dininig na ng Diyos ang dasal namin na alisin ka na, sana huwag mo isama sa pag-alis mo yung mga magagandang epektong dala mo sa buhay namin. Again, ang maganda doon sa piece of literature that I have read, hinanapan talaga ng author ng mga magagandang bagay yung isang napakasamang sitwasyon like COVID-19. And that's what we do with positive reframing. We acknowledge that there is something bad, that there is a bad situation, but we choose to see the good in the midst of the bad. In fact, itong positive reframing na ito, this was not a recent invention of psychologists, but rather, tinuturo na rin ito sa Biblia as one of the spiritual disciplines that people should do. So kahit nauna pa yung Biblia sa pagtuturo ng positive reframing before psychology. For example, in the book of James, chapter 1, verses 2 to 3, this is a clear teaching on positive reframing. Ang sabi dito, if you have trials, what should you do? You consider it pure joy. Maging masaya ka kapag may trials ka. Why? Because you know that the testing of your faith will produce perseverance. Pag may trial ka, magdiwang ka, maging masaya ka because it will make you to become a persevering person. Madedevelop yung character mo and help you to become a better person. What do you call that? Positive reframing. But we need to be specific here. How does positive reframing enhance mental wellness? Anong meron sa positive reframing na kapag ginawa natin to, in the midst of negative situations, nagiging maganda yung ating mental wellness? Well, one author answered this question. He said, be happy not because everything is good, but because you can see the good side of everything. Ano ang sagot? How does positive reframing enhance mental wellness? Because it makes you happy. It generates positive emotion. Kasi yan ang foundation ng mental wellness, no? Positive emotion. The more positive emotions that you feel, the better your mental health becomes. And by doing positive reframing, you are helping yourself to generate positive emotions, especially when you see the good sides or the good things in the midst of a bad situation. That's why, in connection to this, one mental exercise that everyone should do is this one. Every night before you go to sleep, tanungin mo yung sarili mo, ano ba yung mga bagay na nangyayari sa'yo na dala ng isang negative event? Ano yung mga magagandang bagay? In spite of this negative event that you are currently undergoing, what good things are happening in spite of the bad situation that you are in? So every day, dapat nagkakaroon tayo ng quiet time or a small amount of time where we do this mental exercise. Especially for those of you who are undergoing something, you constantly ask yourself, what good things am I experiencing right now in spite of this negative situation that I am in? Okay? So that's positive reframing. Now let's move on to the second habit that you need to be doing every day for your mental wellness. You need to give yourself a daily dose of gratitude. The quality of being thankful, readiness to show appreciation for, and to return kindness. In other words, kapag ikaw ay isang taong mataas ang gratitude, ikaw ay isang taong magaling mag-appreciate ng mga bagay in your life. Sa Tagalog, ibig sabihin, ikaw ay isang mapagpasalamat na tao. You are an appreciative person. And being an appreciative person is one sure way to really improve on your mental wellness. Question, how do you become an appreciative person? There are 2 steps to do. Number 1, you start by putting something in your awareness. And what is that? In step 1, ilagay mo sa awareness mo yung mga bagay in your life right now that you currently have. Mga meron ka na nakakapagpabuti sa buhay mo. Especially the small things. Small things in your life right now that you currently have. Currently, you have in your possession. And then, these small things in your life makes your life better. I want you to put those things into your awareness. Identify as many things like this as possible. And then step 2, after you think about these small things na meron ka sa buhay mo, what you do is you magnify these small things. In your mind, I want you to increase the values of these small things. Sa Tagalog, palakihin mo, purihin mo yung mga bagay na yan na kahit maliliit lang in your life right now, it makes your life so much better. In the Bible, tinuro yan ni Apostle Paul, no, where he encouraged people to appreciate the small things in life, especially food and clothing. For we brought nothing into the world and we can take nothing out of it, but if we have, altogether read, food and clothing, we will be content with that. So ang sinasabi ni Apostle Paul dito, dapat yung mga maliliit na bagay na meron tayo, araw-araw ina-appreciate natin, pinapalaki natin, pinapataas natin yung value. Because these are the things that make our life very comfortable, such as food and clothing. And ako, I believe maraming mga tao ngayon tinitake for granted yung food and clothing kasi sobrang sanay na tayo na laging nandyan yung mga yan eh. And the tendency is, if these things are always there, they lose their value inside our minds. Hindi na natin masyadong na-appreciate yung food na kinakain natin araw-araw and the clothes that we wear, but that is not a good thing according to the Apostle Paul. We need to be appreciating these small things that we have. We need to be focusing our awareness on the things that we have and stop thinking about the things that we don't have. In connection to what the Apostle Paul is saying about gratitude, talagang parami na ng parami yung mga pag-aaral proving that the use of Instagram, it's not good for our mental wellness. Studies after studies are now compiling na kapag napapasobra pala sa Instagram, talagang tumataas yung level of anxiety, tumataas yung level of discontentment, which in turn will negatively affect a person's mental wellness. And if you come to think of it, anong meron sa Instagram na nakakapagpababa siya ng mental wellness? It makes a lot of sense. Kasi kapag gumagamit ka ng Instagram, yung dynamics niyan, it will shift your focus from the things that you have to the things that you don't have. Like for example, as you swipe up in your wall, in your Instagram, you keep on seeing things that other people have which you don't have. Ito yung mga toys ng mga fina-follow mo ng mga celebrities. 'Di ba? Meron silang mga magagandang kotse pero ikaw wala. Magandang bag, ikaw wala. Magandang motor, ikaw wala. Magandang house, ikaw wala. Meron silang walk-in closet, ikaw wala. So you keep on filling your mind, you are bombarding your mind with things that they have and you don't have. And the more you fill your mind with these things, may tendency talaga na unti-unti nagbibreed ka na ng tinatawag nating envy or inggit sa Tagalog. And that envy, that inggit destroys mental wellness. That's one of the most powerful emotions that can ruin mental wellness big time. Kaya kahit sa Bible sa 10 Commandments pa lang, pinagbabawal na mainggit ka sa mga bagay na wala ka pero meron ang iba. 'Di ba? Do not covet your neighbor's wife, o yung kanyang mga alipin, o yung kanyang mga hayop, o alinmang pag-aari niya, because the Bible knows it's not good for your mental health. Fast forward in the New Testament, yung bagong form niyan is in the form of contentment. That's why in the New Testament, the Apostle Paul was very insistent na dapat matuto tayo maging kontento sa buhay natin. I-value natin yung mga bagay na meron tayo, because if we don't, if we keep on focusing on things that we don't have and focusing on the things that other people have, doon na bumabagsak yung ating mental wellness. Good news, there is a way for us to shield our mental health from the dangers of envy. Ano ba ang panglaban sa inggit? Gratitude. In fact, they cannot coexist. The more gratitude that you express, the less envious you feel. And vice versa, the more envious you feel, because you keep on focusing on things that you don't have, the lesser the motivation that you will feel for you to express gratitude. Kaya kung ayaw nating kainin tayo ng inggit, ayaw nating masira yung mental wellness natin dahil sa discontentment, what do? We practice gratitude. We appreciate the small things that we currently have. Huwag na nating isipin, huwag na nating pansinin yung mga bagay na wala tayo. Mag-focus tayo sa mga bagay na meron tayo at maging thankful tayo that we have those small things because these small things make our life so much better. Let me share to you a story about gratitude which will further demonstrate to you how gratitude works in our psychological life. Maganda tong story na to, no? Very touching. Once upon a time, there was a blind boy who sat on the steps of a building with a hat by his feet. Namamalimos siya. He held up a sign which read, "I am blind, please help." There were only a few coins in the hat, spare change from folks as they hurried past. So konti lang yung nagbibigay sa blind boy nung ganyan ang nakasulat. A man was walking by. He took a few coins from his pocket and dropped them into the hat. So biglang may nagbigay sa kanya na mama at binigyan siya ng konting barya, but after that, meron pa siyang ginawang iba. He then took the sign, turned it around, and wrote some words. Then he put the sign back in the boy's hand so that everyone who walked by would see the new words. So meron siyang bagong sign na nilagay doon sa signage ng bata, no, na namamalimos. Soon, that hat began to fill up. A lot more people were giving money to the blind boy. That afternoon, the man who had changed the sign returned to see how things were. The boy recognized his footsteps and asked, "Were you the one who changed my sign this morning? What did you write?" Nagtaka siya. Bakit biglang dumami yung nagbigay sa kanya? Ano ba yung nilagay mo sa sign ko? At biglang dumami yung gustong magbigay sa akin. And the man said, "I only wrote the truth. I said what you said but in a different way. And I wrote." Humawa kayo sa mga upuan ninyo. Ito pala yung sinulat ng mama. "Today is a beautiful day, but I cannot see it." Let me repeat. Today is a beautiful day, but I cannot see it. Both signs spoke the truth, but the first sign simply said the boy was blind, while the second sign conveyed to everyone walking by how grateful they should be to see. I want you to place yourself in the shoes of one of the people who will saw the new sign or who will see the new sign. Today is a beautiful day, but I cannot see it. Pag nabasa mo yan, it will shift your focus to something that you have been taking for granted for a long time, and that is your sense of sight. Tama ba? Kapag nabasa mo yan, talagang ipupush ka to appreciate something that you have been taking for granted, the sense of sight. Totoo yun eh. I mean, when was the last time na nagpray tayo sa Diyos na nagpapasalamat tayo na meron tayong sense of sight? We forget because we falsely assume that everyone can see. But that's not true. We know that there are human beings out there. They cannot see the beauty of day. They cannot see the beauty of life. They are in constant darkness. But do we appreciate this? No. We take it for granted because we always have it. Right? So we don't express gratitude. But what happens? What happens when you begin to appreciate, to place high value on things, on the small things that you have? It changes your perspective. The more you become motivated to express gratitude, that you lose power, you lose motivation to focus on the things that you don't have. Kung baga, ano pa bang hihilingin mo? Halos lahat nasa iyo na pala. Hindi mo lang kasi ina-appreciate. So nawawalan na ng gana yung iyong psyche to focus more on the things that you don't have. So how does gratitude contribute to mental wellness? The same question that we ask for positive reframing. Again, one author answered this question. It is not happy people who are thankful. It is thankful people who are happy. In other words, by expressing gratitude, isa na namang paraan ito para mag-generate tayo within ourselves positive emotion such as happiness. So with this, let me just give you some mental exercises about gratitude, no? That you should be doing every day. Every day before you go to sleep, huwag kayong matutulog hanggat hindi nyo ginagawa yung tinatawag na gratitude exercise. In gratitude exercise, what we do is we list down 3 things that we are so thankful for in our life right now. No matter how small. In fact, mas maganda nga kung yung mga maliliit na bagay yung sinasama natin sa gratitude exercise. 3 things every day. Ilista mo yung mga bagay na pinagpapasalamat mo na meron ka currently before you go to sleep. And samahan mo ng prayer yon, no? After you list down those 3 things that you are thankful for, that you have, isama mo yun sa prayer mo kay God. Lord, thank you for these 3 things that that's making my life so better today. Yung ibang tao, wala ng mga ito, pero ako, meron ako nito. I thank you for this. Now, baka sabihin yon, ang galing ko mag-imbento ng mental exercise. Hindi ko po ito inimbento. This is based on many studies in the field of gratitude psychology showing na itong exercise na ito, maganda talaga to for our mental wellness. The more you do this exercise, the gratitude exercise, the 3 good things exercise, the better the mental wellness becomes. Now, for those of you who have a difficult time na mag-isip kung ano ba yung pwedeng ipagpasalamat, eto, this one that I'm going to give you, hindi mo to pwedeng ialis sa listahan mo. Talagang everyday, kailangan mo tong ipagpasalamat. The fact that you woke up this morning. Every day, every moment that you wake up in the morning, would you agree, it's a great blessing? You know why? Not all people woke up this morning. Marami mga tao all over the world, 'di ba? Hindi na sila nagising. For some reason, they were sick, they had an accident, we don't know. But a lot of people did not have the opportunity to have a new day. Pero ikaw meron. So the fact na nadilat mo pa yung mata mo after a good night's sleep, that is already one thing that you need to be thankful for every day. That God has given you another day to live, another opportunity to serve Him and enjoy this wonderful life. Another mental exercise that you can do in connection to gratitude is you minimize your complaints and maximize thanksgiving. Alam nyo, inside our heads, meron tayong 2 listahan. Listahan ng gratitude at listahan ng mga reklamo. If you want to really improve your mental wellness, you need to be focusing more on your gratitude list more than your complaint list or reklamo list. Dapat mas laman ng awareness mo yung mga bagay na dapat mong ipagpasalamat compared to mga bagay na dapat mong ireklamo. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it's wrong to complain. Paminsan-minsan okay rin naman mag-complain to give improvement, right? Pero for the sake of our mental wellness, our awareness must be more towards expressing gratitude more than complaining. Because the moment that our awareness is more focused on our complaints more than gratitude, that is one sure way why our mental health will suffer. In fact, if you are watching Bubblegang, kung kilala nyo si Mr. Asimo, kung totoong tao itong si Mr. Asimo, bagsak ang mental health nito eh. Kasi kung mapapanood nyo yung character ni Mr. Asimo, right? Wala na siyang ginawa sa buhay kung hindi magreklamo. Seeing the bad things and complaining about it, and he rarely say thanks. He rarely express gratitude because his mind is full of complaints. Again, don't do that because that is one sure way to really destroy your mental health. And again, no, hindi ko lang ito inimbento. Studies after studies are now proving that counting your blessings more than counting your complaints is good for your mental wellness. Mas madali dapat tayong magpasalamat compared sa magreklamo. Just to demonstrate to you how this is done, bigyan ko lang kayo ng mabilisang example. Let's talk about a slow internet connection. Diba? I mean, this is an issue that almost every one of us can relate. Kapag mabagal ang internet connection mo, question, kinakailangan mo bang ireklamo? My answer is yes. Kasi that's your money. Kaya mo nga binabayaran yan monthly para magkaroon ka ng mabilis na internet. So kapag mabagal ang internet mo, talagang it's your consumer right, it's your constitutional right to file a complaint. Dapat lang. See, hindi naman bawal magreklamo eh. Pero dapat balanse ka. Hindi ka puro reklamo kapag mabagal ang internet connection. So my next question to you is, from the moment that you started your subscription to this internet provider, buong subscription mo ba lahat ng araw 100% mabagal ang internet connection? Well, if you're going to be honest, your answer would be no. Merong mga pagkakataon, may malaki kang meeting, meron kang importanteng webinar, maayos naman yung internet connection. Nairaos mo rin naman, right? Question, for those days na mabilis ang internet mo, ikaw ba nagpasalamat ka sa internet service provider? You see, you have to be balanced. Nung mabagal nagreklamo ka, pero nung maayos, nagpasalamat ka ba? You see? Now, most people will tell me, bakit namin dapat magpasalamat? Bakit kailangan kami magpasalamat? Yun nga yung value ng pera namin. Hindi nila kailangan ng pasalamat kasi trabaho nila yun. Kasi yun yung worth ng money namin. My answer, you're correct. Hindi ka dapat magpasalamat because that's the value of your money. Pero nagpapasalamat ka not because of your money, but you are doing this, you are expressing gratitude to the internet service provider for the sake of your mental health. If you take the extra step, go out of your way to write them a letter and express your gratitude for a job well done for the day, you are doing a good thing for your own mental health. Nag-generate ka ng positive emotion within yourself because you're able to share a set of positive words to the internet service provider para yun sa mental health mo. Wala yun kinalaman sa halaga ng pera mo. Diba? And, baka hindi mo pa alam na hindi lang ikaw yung nag-benefit sa ginawa mo. Pati yung nakatanggap ng mensahe na yon sa internet service provider, nakatulong ka pa sa pagpapataas ng mental health niya. O, di ba? So again, it's not bad to complain, but it's also good for us to express gratitude, especially if people deserve na expressan sila ng gratitude. That's why the Bible, di ba, teaches us this principle. You give thanks in all circumstances. Huwag kang bias. Huwag yung kapag may mali, ang ingay-ingay mo, pag may tama, tahimik ka lang. Babalansihin mo. Yung negative emotions mo na ginawa mo sa sarili mo because of your complaint must be outdone by the gratitude that you express when things are going right. That's one way to take care of your mental wellness. Gusto ko lang basahin sa inyo yung isang hymn, one of my favorites, that talks about expressing gratitude, specifically counting your blessings. Remember doon sa pinakita kong article kanina, no? Ayan, scientifically, it's proven that counting your blessing is good for your mental wellness. Meron talagang kanta na Counting Your Blessings ang title. And the words of this hymn perfectly resembles the findings of these researches that counting your blessings is good for our mental wellness. Sabi nung kanta, when upon life's billows you are tempest tossed, when you are discouraged, thinking all is lost, count your many blessings, name them one by one, and it will surprise you what the Lord has done. Count your blessings, name them one by one, count your blessings, see what God has done. Diba? Ganyan yan. Totoo yan eh. When you count your blessings, you are generating positive emotions, and those positive emotions will cover the negative emotions that you are currently feeling. Kaya nga sinabi doon sa first verse, when upon life's billows you are tempest tossed. Ano yon? When you are discouraged, thinking all is lost. Mga negative emotions yan eh. Para mawala yung mga negative emotions na yan, ika-counter mo yan ng positive emotions through gratitude. Specifically, counting your blessings. Try it. It's a very good exercise to do every day. I hope you're still there, and I hope you're learning a lot. And we're going to close this short webinar by talking about habit number 3. You need to be giving yourself a daily dose of social support. Alam nyo, napaka-obvious naman ng habit na ito that our mental wellness becomes better when we receive support from other people. Gumagaan yung buhay natin, nababawasan yung stress natin, which is good for our mental wellness when other people help us. And many webinars already talk about this, so I wouldn't want to further elaborate on this. It's very commonsensical. But rather, what I would say here in habit number 3 is, it's more important that we are the ones to give social support more than accept social support. Don't get me wrong, mahalaga na makatanggap tayo ng social support. But when we talk about mental wellness, mas mahalaga pa rin na tayo ang nagbibigay ng social support. Yes, you heard it right. By giving social support, it is a more powerful way to enhance your mental wellness than receiving social support. In the words of Jesus Christ Himself, ang sabi niya, lalo pang mapalad ang magbigay kaysa tumanggap. In English, it is more blessed to give than to receive. And this is not just a random Bible verse na masarap pakinggan, na confirm na rin ito in many studies in the field of clinical psychology, especially when they were studying how to cure depression. Kasi naghahanap yung mga psychologists ng iba't ibang mga ways and strategies and therapies on how to manage better the emotions of people who are depressed. So sa paghahanap nila ng mga strategies na ito, one day, they were able to discover a revolutionary finding on how to better handle the emotions of people suffering from depression. And you know what's that revolutionary finding? Na ang isa pala sa pinaka-best way para ma-handle mo ng maayos yung isang taong depressed is you let those depressed people serve other people. Serving other people improves big time the emotions of depressed people. Halos nawawala yung kanilang mga negative affect when they go out of their way and serve people who are in need. In fact, in one journal article, ang sinabi doon, yung epekto ng serving other people is as powerful as taking an antidepressant. Hindi ko sinasabing hindi na mahalaga yung antidepressant, no? But I just want to emphasize how powerful it is, how beneficial it is for a depressed person to help another human being in need. And you know, when I read this journal article on the benefits of helping other people, naalala ko yung isang passage in the Bible that perfectly confirms what science is saying. Anong sinabi sa Isaiah 58 verse 10? If you pour yourself out for the hungry and satisfy the desire of the afflicted. Ibig sabihin nun, you are serving other people who are in need. Ano ang magiging effect daw niyan pag ginawa mo? Then shall your light rise in the darkness and your gloom be as the noonday. Question, ano kaya yung darkness dito? Ano yung gloomy dito? I believe this is not talking about a literal weather. No, hindi ito weather eh. Hindi ito yung talagang madilim at gloomy, but this is talking about human emotions. That our emotions become lighter, it becomes more positive, the negative emotions become better when we go out our way to support other people who are in need. And what amazes me about Isaiah 58 verse 10, nung na-realize ko kung sino ang nagsasalita in this passage. You know who is speaking in this passage? God Himself, the maker of the human psyche, teaching us how human emotions work, how mental wellness works. Hindi ba kayo kinikilabutan doon? I mean, the maker of the mind, the author of the psyche, teaching us, giving us a lesson on how mental wellness works. And what is He saying? That mental wellness becomes enhanced, super enhanced, when we go out and serve and give the needs of other people. No wonder, going back to the words of Jesus, later on in the New Testament, diba, it is more blessed to give than to receive. Okay, so again, same question as we asked the previous two techniques, how does supporting others contribute to mental health? Bakit kapag tumutulong ka sa iba, nagiging parang noonday yung emotions mo? Bakit nawawala yung darkness, nawawala yung gloom? Well, according to studies, ang theory dyan is because when a depressed person help another human being in need, nagkakaroon siya ng shift of awareness. Nawawala yung kanyang awareness o yung kanyang focus from the self na pupunta sa ibang tao. Because one of the most powerful reasons for depression is extreme focus on the self. Masyado kang nakatutok sa sarili mo at minamagnify mo yung mga bagay na masasama in your life, especially your current problems. But when you help people in need, okay, i-shift niyan yung focus mo away from yourself and towards other people. And while that process is happening, you realize two things that will greatly improve your emotion. Number one, nare-realize ng mga taong depressed na hindi lang pala sila yung may problema. Because most people who are depressed, they have that kind of fable in their heads, no, na sila lang ang may problema, na sila ang pinakakuwawang mga tao sa buong mundo. But when they see that other people are struggling, hindi lang pala sila yung nag-i-struggle, that is already powerful enough to more or less improve their emotions. Kasi parang meron silang sense of connection to others, no? Hindi lang pala ako nag-iisa. Marami din palang nagsasuffer katulad ko. It greatly improves their emotions. And number two, in the process of them helping other people in need, nare-realize nila that their problem is not the greatest problem on earth. Isa na naman yan sa mga fables nila, no? Yung mga taong depressed when they think that they have the worst problem in life. But when they extend themselves to other people and help those people in need, they realize na marami pa palang tao mas matindi pa ang problema sa kanila. I am crying about this, but these people have this problem and it is thrice, quadruple times my problem. So kapag na-realize nila yon, yung disparity of their problem with the worst problem of other people, nagkakaroon pa doon ng gratitude na maswerte pa pala ako, ito lang yung problema ko compared to this guy, compared to this girl na sobrang lala ng problema. 'Di ba? At yung sense of gratitude na yon, no? Yun pa ang magpapa-improve ng kanilang mental wellness. Okay? So every day, what should you do? Every day, if you really want to take good care of your mental wellness, you take care of other people. Every morning when you wake up, one of the first questions you need to ask is, who can I serve today? Dapat lagi kang on the lookout. Lagi kang sensitive sa mga tao sa paligid mo kung ano ba yung mga pangangailangan nila na pwede mong ibigay. Sino ba yung mga taong kailangan ng suporta? Sino ba yung mga taong kaya mo namang bigyan ng suporta so that you can help them have better lives? You go out, you improve, you add value to people's lives. The more you extend yourself for other people, the better your mental health becomes. And I think this is one of the reasons why I think many young people today are suffering from low mental wellness. Diba? I mean, have you heard of the statistics today on depression? Ang daming mga depressed ngayon, lalong-lalo na yung mga young people today from 16 to 21 years old. And these are the young people who are the babies of social media. At ano ang kinalaman ng social media sa mental wellness or sa poor mental wellness? Social media teaches people to be selfish. It teaches self-promotion. It teaches extreme self-valuation. Diba? To the point that sa yung mga bata ngayon, sa sobrang kaka-inflate nila ng mga sarili nila, they are now forgetting to be concerned, to be aware of the needs of other people because they are so busy promoting themselves through the social media. Naging kultura na siya naging norm na siya na kapag nabubuhay ka sa society ngayon, you need to be promoting yourself. You need to be loving yourself. You need to be what? Taking good care of yourself to the point that you already forget the needs of other people. In fact, yung Time Magazine sumulat ng isang issue dyan. It's entitled The Me Generation. Nakita kasi ng marami mga psychologists today yung mga patterns ng mga kabataan ngayon na talagang mahilig na sa self-promotion to the extent that they forget to extend themselves to help those people who are in need. And this is so unfortunate because many young people today are shaped to be selfish. It's taking a toll in their mental wellness as the statistics are clearly showing. Tatandaan natin, no? We are designed by God to be a help to another person. It is not good for a man to be alone. I will make a suitable helper for him. You translate that in our everyday life. Our life, one of the essence of our life is to be a help to somebody else. Sabi nga ng isang author, the soul does not grow by addition, but by subtraction. The measure of a man is not how many servants he has, but how many men he serves. I agree. Pero sa society natin ngayon, iba ang pinopromote. Gusto mong maging big time, gusto mong maging successful, mangolekta ka ng mga servants. Kung ilan ang nagsisilbi sa'yo, yan ang indication ng success. Very wrong, very inaccurate given our nature as spiritual beings. The true success of a spiritual being like us is how much are we able to give ourselves for other people. Kaya again, ito yung mental exercise that I want to leave you with every day. Ilabas natin sana yung mga kamay natin to serve other people. Yung mga mata natin araw-araw laging naghahanap ng mga taong pwedeng matulungan. Sino ang pwede kong matulungan? Sino ang pwedeng bigyan ko ng value? Sino yung taong pwede akong may ibigay? That should be our habit every day. We need to be more concerned about helping others more than being helped by others. Ano ba yung mga support na pwede mong ibigay sa mga taong yan? Well, marami namang paraan yan eh. Sino yung kaya mong bigyan financially? Lalo na kung may extra ka naman. Meron ka na namang savings. Yung sobra dyan, sana wag mo nang ipambili ng bagay na gusto mo. 'Di ba? Ibili natin ng mga bagay na kailangan ng iba. That's better. Or kung wala ka namang pera, hindi naman lagi dapat pera lang, no? You can give people attention, care, time, understanding, encouragement, and most importantly, simple gestures of love will help them big time in their mental wellness. And again, in so doing, as you give and give and give to other people, what happens? Your mental wellness becomes better. Sabi nga ng isa sa Proverbs in the Bible, he who refreshes others will himself be refreshed. That's very true. Okay? At yan ay napatunayan na in many studies in the field of psychology. Alright? So, that ends our discussion for today. To summarize everything I've said, diba, we talk about mental wellness, we talk about its definition, we talk about how it is defined, what are the markers of mental wellness. It should be an everyday thing. Meaning, kinakailangan meron kang mga bagay na araw-araw mong ginagawa para maging maayos yung mental wellness mo, and I have given you 3 things that you need to be doing every day for the sake of your mental wellness. Ano yon? Positive reframing, gratitude, and giving of social support. Again, this is an everyday thing. Hindi lang ito paminsan-minsan. The more you do this every day, the better your mental wellness becomes. Alright, so I hope you were able to learn something from this short webinar on mental wellness. If you have any questions or comments about this talk, or you think this talk was very helpful and you want this video to be shared with someone, go ahead. You have my permission. All right? Thank you everyone for listening to me. Have a great day and I'll see you next time. God bless and take good care of your mental wellness. Bye-bye.